Hey guys, Brassfax here. 6ARC is the new hotness, the new kid on the block. All your favorite influencers have it, SOCOM is trying it, and most importantly, my group Token Asian, who is somehow not me, has not shut up about it for the last 2 years. So I finally caved and got a 6ARC setup. 3 different configurations, 2,000 rounds, a 10-hour-long match, 2 days at the Leopold shooting facility, and countless range trips later, I think I can answer the question, what's the deal with 6ARC? Is it as good as everyone says? Or is this the influencer bourgeoisie class just obsessed with the newest hotness, only to move on to the next cool thing in 1 to 2 years, leaving this one behind? Before really getting started, we need to answer the question, what exactly is 6ARC? Because I think it's a bit misunderstood. For the sake of the video, I'll be viewing it from the perspective of 108 grain ELD match from Hornady. Grossly simplifying it, it carries the flight performance of 6.5 Creedmoor enabled by very good ballistic coefficients, it has the recoil and muzzle energy of 300 Blackout, and all of this somehow is crammed into a small frame AR-15 using the existing 6.5 Grendel magazines. This makes for a very versatile round that works decently well as a close-range night fighting setup during running guns, statically out to range with consistent or first round hits at 1400 meters, and during a PRS carbine match. And that's really the entire pitch. It's a medium grain round that lets you cover all your bases, not optimally, but pretty close to, all from the cozy comforts of an AR-15. Cool, we did it, we rehashed the same stuff every single 6ARC video has done. Neat. But there's a lot more to it than that, and if you'd like to listen to this mostly unqualified dude give his opinion on the round, we're going to discuss the good, the bad, and unpack the extreme autism that is 6ARC. This video was brought to you by Venture Surplus and this bag. This bag is actually something that my group uses. Maestro Beast here has one, and he's used it for intended purpose of being sort of an assault lighter pack. While the designation of 3 days carries the same energy as the 1,000-meter volley sight on a Mosin, it's actually a great pack. Solid form factor, great vibes, and a good backer to help prevent the beach fallification when you stuff this thing full. And perhaps coolest of all, it's designed to directly interface with my third favorite surplus item, the USGI bandolier. Because Venture Surplus sells, well, surplus gear, you can get this banger, we still say banger, right, of a pack for about $70 used pretty heavily. Go ahead, check it out.
Hop, I like your new place.
Thanks, that's all I can afford.
Honestly, this is in Utah. This is pretty good. 600,000.
We got a rehab loan for it, so we're gonna make some changes.
Spotter up.
Oh, Jesus.
Understand the course fire?
Vaguely.
So interestingly, I did not think 6ARC was actually anything more than a novelty until very recently. It wasn't the ammo, it wasn't the comically small number of available built rifles at the time, or the concerning reports of longevity, it was the magazines. 7.62x3.9, Grendel, and now ARC all share the same parent case, 220 Russian, which has an aggressive taper as well as a case diameter that doesn't actually optimally fit in the dimensions of an AR-15 magwell. Check out this Magpul podcast I was on if you want more info on the physics at play here. The short of it is the ammo is basically stagger stacked instead of a true double stack, which impacts reliability quite significantly once dirt and other aspects get involved, especially at high feed speeds. In practice, this means you are playing a game of reliability versus capacity, and the optimal choice, though debated, seems to be the 19-round Duramags, which not only do not fit in any relevant gear as it's a tiny curved boy, it's also a pretty cucked capacity, while still somehow only being comparable to sort of low mid-tier 5.56 magazines in terms of reliability. Can you see why I thought this kind of was a gimmick?
More gas? Or do we actually need less gas?
I think you need to buy a magazine that doesn't suck.
Fortunately for us, Bill G Money Geisley is here to save you by bending your wallet over backwards with the permanently out-of-stock $85 30-round 6mm magazines. Really took a page out of B&T on that one, huh? I know there are, in theory, guns out there that work flawlessly across the board with any magazining, but I can only speak to my anecdotal experience, and every time I've seen a 6ARC user, they always talk big talk about how their 6ARC gun is totally not like the other girls and works flawlessly with all the magazines, and every time if anything other than a Geisley mag is being used in actual real-world conditions, not bench rest shooting, they seem to experience malfunctions. Yes, a $3,000 Noveske included. Hilarious sidebar, because most 6ARC malfunctions are in fact mag related, you tend to get a lot of quasi-double feeds, which destroy the very pointy 6-arc rounds, meaning each malfunction is costing you $2 to $3. So, I mean, when you think about it, you really only need to do 24 malfunctions to pay off the difference between a Duramag and a Geisley Mag, so I mean, they basically pay for themselves, right? Unfortunately, the Geisley Mags are not a silver bullet. These are comically long, which makes for good joke material, but also genuinely causes issue when you try to stabilize these guns off of, frankly, anything, and God help you if you're trying to shoot this thing with a bipod at a slightly elevated target. It's so bad that at the match we were at, a lot of the dudes were running the G Money magazines, but also had to have a pocket or pouch of the 15 or 19 rounders, even though they knew the mag might cause malfunctions. It's what I had to end up doing in order to just shoot the gun from certain positions. And for comical icing on the cake, as if we are smitten by God for dare spending this much money on Spicy 5.56, the lack of any taper built into the magazine means there's actually a ton of space between each one of the rounds. So if you drop it or slam your rifle into the ground too hard as you're moving into position, the whole magazine turns into an oversized Pez dispenser.
Hey, Hop.
Yo.
Do you know how much I spent on these?
$85 plus shipping and handling.
Yeah. I heard they fix 6 arcs.
And
Unfortunately, they don't fix the desert. Geisley! Bill Geisley, you fuck!
Next up, yeah, there's more things to consider with this mess. The upper receiver. We know mostly from a large pool of experience with 6.5 Grendel and 7.62x3.9 AR-15s that the standard bolt face has been sort of reduced to make room for the new larger casing, and as a result tends to crack at medium to higher round counts as the design simply was not, well, designed for this. While significantly less anecdotes exist for 6-arc, it seems to be sharing the same issue, which makes sense as it shares the same parent casing. This is less of a deal breaker as most people are simply not going to hit the relevant round count with 6-arc for this to manifest. After all, it's a more build as a precision gun than a general purpose rifle, but if you really want to dot your I's, you can buy an aftermarket bolt which uses better materials or a beefed up bolt design, or both. I'm personally waiting for this one right here, which is of course out of stock, and it's probably going to be even more out of stock after airing this video. Great, amazing, good job. Okay, let's move on. Due to the versatility of the round, and the fact that it is still kind of being figured out, there are a ton of different configurations tailor-made for their use case, where both the barrel and the enablers really change how the round can be utilized. And I've been able to shoot a good chunk of them, so here's my thoughts. The 20-inch min-max setups really excel for PRS shooting when you're going maybe 20 feet at most, shooting off of a beanbag, and just want the softest shooting gun manageable while still maintaining extremely good ballistics, or you just want to atomize prairie dogs with the 80-grain varmint rounds. That being said, these setups impressed me the least. There really doesn't seem to be all that noticeable of a difference at your max possible range. They end up just feeling a lot like a large frame sniper system with all that extra weight and barrel, all ultimately to just shoot 300 blackout with legs. So for me, if I'm carrying something analogous to a Sapper or CSAS, I want the terminal performance of a Sapper or CSAS. So the round really shines in these shorter configurations where there's been a lot of attention given to kind of lightening the overall setup. Not too dissimilar to how you would set up a weight-conscious 5.56 SPR fighting rifle hybrid. My personal setup is an upper I bought from Munition Works, standard 14.5 with a 3 to 18 loophole. It's a mix of a shorter setup to allow ease of use with the suppressor and running gun situations, while still having a ton of magnification to really utilize the round. I'll have a video out on it when I really narrow in on a finalized setup, especially since I'm warming to the idea of one of those shorter configurations like this 12.5 setup. The FPS drop seems negligible and actually is an increase if I switch from my current barrel to something like a Noveske. It really is kind of a cool setup as nothing quite compares to smack and steel at over 1,000 with a Mark 18 size gun. There is one final hypothetical configuration of just pretending this is a standard fighting rifle. So, no MPVO, dial-level turrets or whatever. Instead, you're going with an LPVO, maybe even a red dot magnifier, flashlight, laser aiming module, the usual stuff we put on GPRs. While this is every gun nerd's wet dream as it truly begins to approximate a do-it-all rifle, and I honestly gave it some thought, the lack of magnification is going to be one of the limiting factors of your max engagement range, and the actual use case of a carbine is 95% sub 150 yards, where 5.56 FMJs are at worst on par, but generally agreed upon to actually be better. And 5.56 will absolutely begin to exceed the performance of current 6 ARC when we spend a comparable per round cost on duty or OTM loadings. So in general, I think for most people this isn't the setup to do it with. Stick to slightly more longer range oriented SPR setups.
There's two types, yeah. Oh. Dope card with pretty pictures. Pretty pictures.
You guys are trying too hard. I'm just gonna guess.
That's probably the way to do it, honestly.
Just full YOLO.
Yeah. I bet it's about one. Something, somewhere.
I'm still gonna fuck it up.
Okay, so look, you picked the barrel, you got your gun working, you're running the G Money magazines, and you've sent your child to the mines and your organs to South America to fund the whole thing. What do we get? How does it actually function in the real world? Does it deliver on all of these on-paper hypotheticals? Yeah, it checks that sub 400 box really well. Nothing really special going on here. It performs roughly on par with most other things you shoot at this range. Aggressively good mean point blank range, aim center of mass, you're probably going to get a hit. It's when we go past that we really begin to notice a difference. Out far, it delivers a easy to shoot, long range round and is absolutely a cakewalk to shoot with a solid dope out to 1400. And I was able to keep up with all of the large frame guns when we were out at the Leopold shoot and then my own personal shoots after that for about 700 rounds of this stuff. But I am fucking autistic and decided that was not enough, so I signed myself, Hop, and the rest of the Nova group up to the Utah Precision Marksmanship match as I really wanted to put this up against other really good long-range shooters. And honestly, I'm glad I did this match, because not only did it whoop my ass, it also sold me on this round. For 200 to 400 yards, once again, the domain of the 5.56 SPR, this round was keeping up surprisingly well. Not quite as fast as it does have some notably more recoil, but close enough that we were getting quick and instantaneous snap follow-up shots on misses, something the heavier guns were going to be struggling with. But as the wind picked up, the range increased, and obnoxiously the rain started falling, every single 5.56 gun got wrecked. And 10 plus target did not finish stages were not uncommon, even with very experienced shooters. At this extended range, 6 ARC did not only just keep up with the larger frame guns, but actually exceeded them, as it was a lighter, easier to maneuver gun over a very long shooting day. Faster follow-up shots were quite easy, and the minimal recoil allowed you to spot your own misses, apply corrections, even before your spotter knew what had happened, or a CSAS type gun finished his recoil cycle. This combination of low recoil, large ammo economy also meant I wasn't as pressed to redial for every single shot, even if the dope was significantly different, as I could just make a rough estimation, send out a shot, and most of the time I would get my hit, but if I didn't, it would function as a spoiler shot, and I was easily able to correct for a hit far faster than it would have taken to even finish dialing or working through the recoil cycle of a 6.5 Creedmoor. People are going to hate hearing this because this shit's basically tattooed on the back of some people's foreheads, but this is the one time I can say to a degree, in a field of very experienced shooters, it was the gear, not the shooter, that carried my match position. I'm not a good PRS shooter, or really even a long-range shooter. I'm kind of a carbine guy. But with a solid dope, I was able to beat out a lot of shooters that I think were better than me, curb stomp shooters roughly at my level due to the setup versus their setup that I brought, and, in general, the gun was extremely helpful. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't do amazing at this match, especially compared to 1 through 3 who completely crushed the rest of the competition with times 1 to 2 minutes faster than the rest, but I also know a good chunk of these guys were able to shoot the match beforehand, so, I don't know, c'est la vie. Regardless, I'll do a video discussing my perspective on the Nova Group channel. Point still stands. You give me a 6 Creedmoor or a 5.56 SPR, I would have done probably a lot worse. It really does feel like a cake and eat it too setup, and partially solves one of the major issues that has plagued the dichotomy of the tactical long-range space for a bit. You now have a rifle that solves the need for either a 2-gun sniper system or the need to deal with the limitations of a heavier CSAS type gun, both in economy of ammo and dealing with targets up close. It also allows the non-primary shooters within a unit to a degree keep up with the heavier guns while still accomplishing their primary tasking of dealing with up-close threats with accurate and large volumes of fire. While it's going to come up short compared to Zero Recoil 5.56 up close or the terminal effect of 308 or 6.5 out far, it sits in a useful in-between niche. In a lot of ways, supplanting of the 5.56 SPR. Now, it's obviously missing some of the conveniences of being able to share ammo with the unit, but that's obviously a question for the user, the unit, and logistics, and less so about the weapon. Why did I record 2 hours and 20 minutes straight of footage? I don't need this much. Okay, so after my belt fed video, I promised I wouldn't do a video like this again, something that costs 2 to 3 times more than it generates in revenue. So I immediately proceeded to spend 2 to 3 times more than I will generate off of this in revenue. I'm not a smart man, Jenny. But instead of taking responsibility for my actions, I'll make Blue Alpha responsible instead by covering the difference. You need a belt? You want something that will last you a lifetime? Blue Alpha has you covered as the preferred belt by the Nova Group. We were wearing this bad Mamma Jamba before they sponsored me, and then we will continue to wear Blue Alpha stuff well after my YouTube career has crashed and burned, probably due to my poor financial decisions. From Ryan's literally almost decade-old EDC belt, to my battle belt, to Chris's belt, to also Ryan's battle belt that he also had for a similar amount. Okay, look, Ryan really likes Blue Alpha. And, well, wow, what a transition. How could he not? We're tough on our gear. Blue Alpha stuff has kept up with every step of the way, when other lesser belts we've owned, 511, doesn't even slightly. So, go check them out. And thanks, Blue Alpha.
Good lord. That was a 380 round match for me, almost. That's almost $500 in ammo plus a $100 match fee. Sick. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, thank you.
It's called 52 Card Pickup. It's a great game. You should try it.
Okay, let's wrap this thing up. It's clear, I really like 6 Arc, far more than I thought I would. But before you go ahead and liquidate your kid's college fund, consider this. 6 Arc is still a niche nerd round. A very popular niche nerd round, but a niche nerd round nonetheless. And while we're close to mainstream adoption, we're not there yet. And while someone like me, who does this for a living, who can tax write off this stuff, and will get content out of it, it makes sense for me to enjoy, use, and preach 6 Arc, essentially. But for someone that is going to need this gun to be sticking with them for many years to come, I would consider it sort of a risky proposition at this time. Even if you do want to take the risk, consider that 6 Arc really only exceeds existing setups when it is regularly pushed past, 5 to 600 yards. If this is not something you're going to regularly do, or you simply lack the experience at this range, I'd venture to say you'd be better off served by taking the insane cost of 6 Arc ammo, magazines, and rifle, and just investing that into your already existing 5.56 setup with a solid match ammo to train with. Even if you are considering, say, consolidating rifles by removing your 5.56 SPR and your semi-auto 6.5 Creedmoor setup and consolidating into a single setup, a 6 Arc setup, something that I actually think really makes sense in terms of reducing your preparedness logistical burden, Magpul and Surefire and others are in the process of creating a new, slightly larger lower, the ICAR mag and lower, to solve that reliability issue I mentioned earlier. And there does seem to be some internal pushing from the military side of things to redesign the upper to allow for a larger bolt, an entire issue I didn't even cover in this video. So consider we may also just be on the cusp of an entirely new rifle, and it may be worth waiting for that, for costs to come down, and to see if this round can survive Trump slump and will have the same momentum it has next year and the legs to survive long term. Okay, cool. Let me know if you have any questions regarding my experience with 6 Arc down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and well, we'll see you guys later.
Okay. Still give me the right.
She's about to lose her patience with this. Hi dear. Are you sick of this? Are you sick and tired of this? I understand. I know. It's okay. I'll let you go. I will let you go.
As cute as Nova is, she can only handle active attention.
Okay, thanks. When I kiss you, it's adorable. When you kiss me, it's gross. Because you have a big, sloppy, wet tongue. Yeah, it's gross. Okay, I will let you go. I know I will let you go. You're right. It's the right thing to do. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, my darling. Yes, my darling. There you go. Oh, my goodness. There you go.
You're the same color as Nova.